Hey, greetings, Khomotso, Mrs. Makhura. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
Welcome to our academic coordinates interview. It is an honor to have you, a wonderful chemistry graduate and soon to be PGCE graduate, and of course, soon to be super physical science and mathematics educator. So, as Khomotso, let's get to know you a bit. Can you tell us who are you?
As I just said, my name is Selin.
You are welcome as in any way that you are comfortable.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Khomotso. I don't like my V name, so I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm Ram. So my name is Khomotso, and my surname is Makhura. I am married to a wonderful husband. His name is David Makhura. Please note, it's not the Premier of Gauteng. Another David Makhura, and we have a beautiful daughter that God blessed us with. Her name is Litabo, which means joy. So I think that's all about me.
Okay,
I'm from Limpopo, and I'm now staying in the Western Cape in Kamati. I grew up in a small village called Rapidi, which is situated in Moleti, which is in Polokwane. So I think that's all about where I come from.
okay. Thank you for sharing your background with us. You have already told us where you grew up. So, do you mind sharing just maybe one or two sentences about how you grew up?
Okay, growing up was very interesting. Um, at home, my we are six, and the first daughter passed away. So I have two brothers and two sisters. Yes, you guessed it right. I'm the last born, and my mom is a domestic worker, and my dad is a very talented carpenter. So growing up was, as I've already said, it wasn't a smooth road, but by the grace of God, I managed to get to school, and because nowadays there's Amanes Fast and all the bursaries, by the grace of God, I even managed to go to university. So I'm a child of God, born again Christian, and I think if I have to say when was I born again, it was on the 27th of December 2006. So I think that's all about how I grew up.
Okay, thank you so much. Condolences about your sibling who passed away. And we thank God that you were able to make it into university. It's inspiring to know no matter what your background is, you can always push through. So, um, do you think there's one thing that makes your upbringing interesting? Just one thing that you can mention that you think you don't have to elaborate long, just maybe one thing that you think made your upbringing interesting.
Yeah. What can I say? My dad wasn't going to church, and my mom was going to ZCC, so they allowed us to choose any religion that we wanted, and I chose to be a born again Christian. I think that's interesting because some parents don't give their children that right to choose where they want to fellowship.
Okay, yeah, that's it is um a very interesting something because it's interesting because it's something we wouldn't expect to happen. Okay, now we'd like to learn and hear a bit more about your high school years and your high school career. So in high school, there were different crews. You know, there was the nerds, the naughty guys, the popular people. Which crew did you belong in?
I was definitely not the nerd, not the popular. So I was in the naughty crew.
Were
I was
you naughty or
very
you?
naughty. I was
Okay,
very naughty.
it doesn't look like you, but okay, we'll have to believe you. So, um, can you tell us something you think or you believe you were known for at school?
For making noise.
Okay.
Also, I also played sports. So I used to play long jump at school. So that is something that I was known for. But besides that, making noise was on top of my list.
Well, I didn't. I wouldn't. I find it hard to believe that you were a noisemaker. But okay, I'm learning a few things about you myself. So, tell us about. There's this transition from grade 9 to grade 10, where you have to choose subjects. How did you go through that phase?
Yo, so as much as I was a naughty kid at school, I was not bad in class. So usually they say that like in our school, the top 10 normally automatically they decide to choose the science. So I was one of those. I will lie if I say I knew that I wanted to be a scientist or whatever that I wanted to do at university, but I basically just chose my subject because um, smart students were supposed to do science.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So let's be honest. How did you go through your high school? Do you study honestly, or did you scram your way out of high school?
Studying? No, I think I
Mhm.
only started studying in grade 12. That's when I started. No, no, it wasn't a serious study,
Mm.
but it was something. So it was just one of those. The teacher talks, and then you grab it, and then you go. So if like we didn't have like, what can I say? Our teachers were not so, they were good, ne? But the science stream was struggling with teachers. We had a very wonderful life science teacher. So with that one, I would just read his notes today when I'm writing tomorrow. So I would assume I was cramming. And then for math and science, grade 10 and grade 11, it was horrible. If I have to say that out loud, I remember my maths mark for grade 11. I was on 32%. That time I was the number one achiever in the science stream with a math mark of 32. So that is so weird. It just shows how poor our marks were. And I won't say it's because we were not studying, it's because we relied on teachers. You know how learners in high school always rely on teachers. So if you don't have the best, your marks are also not going to be okay. So I would say, I won't say I studied, I just crammed my way through. And I think at that time it actually worked.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting to hear. So, you've already told us that you were participating in sport. So, do you mind telling us some of the sports you did, and maybe some other extracurricular activities that you did besides sport? Maybe did you do debate, drama? So, yeah.
Oh, I did sports. I played netball at school. Yes, I was in the A team. But then, at Emakaya, we only have A and B. And sometimes you're actually in the A team because the teacher likes you. But anyway, that's school politics. But I played netball. And then I remember in grade 6, I also played basketball, and that was very it was a very interesting sport to play. But besides the netball and the basketball, in grade 10 I started doing the speech contest. So it's like there's this huge thing, competition, where you either do poetry or you read or you play drama, or you do speech. So now I was the poetry lady in my school. So that's one of the things that I did. Let's see. I think that's all that I did. We didn't have, and I was never the school head or head girl. Those were not my things. As I said, I was a naughty one. Naughty ones don't get those. So
Let me ask then. You did mention that you didn't see yourself becoming a scientist. So do you mind sharing what did you envision yourself doing? Where did you see yourself, or what did you see yourself doing in the future if you weren't seeing yourself as a scientist?
yo, so my mom wanted me to be a doctor. Ne?
Mm-hmm.
My dad wanted me to be, those people who read the news on TV.
Okay.
He wanted me to be one of those. And
A
me,
reporter.
I don't know what I wanted to be. I won't lie. I remember I would watch what's that thing? Forensics in Tonton
Oh,
on
okay.
ETV. And then whenever there's a new like forensic pathologist, today I'll be like, I want to be a forensic pathologist. Tomorrow there's a climatologist. I want to be a climatologist. Like I'll literally look for difficult terms and decide that's what I want to be when I grow up. And that happened from grade 10. I think, but one thing that I think I loved was to be what like the forensics. I wanted to work in like with those difficult murder cases for some fun reasons. I don't know why. And grade 11, I wasn't sure, but grade 12 also. I think at some point I wanted to be a computer scientist or something like that. It's been a very long journey, but one thing that I will not lie about, I wanted to be a teacher the moment I left my high school. So after grade 12, I went to do computer science. And then after, when computer science was killing me, then I had the passion for teaching. But because we know that teachers, in high school, they would tell us that teachers don't get paid a lot of money. Because of that, no one would want to go and be a teacher. So that's why I was like, teaching, bye bye. Let's go into this other engineering difficult things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
I
the
can agree with you on the teachers and low salary. I also asked myself, I always wanted to be an educator as well, but I always asked myself, why didn't I go for education? For some strange reason, I didn't apply for B.Ed also. But I'm also a teacher as well. Okay, so what stood out for you in high school? Something that you think was extraordinary or something that was special about your high school days? What do you think?
my high school days, ne?
Mm-hmm.
Yo. So I think in the somewhere in the as we started talking, I mentioned something that my maths mark was 32% in grade 11, and then from grade 11 to grade 12, it has improved to a 79. Is it 79? Yes, 79%, and that's something that just it happened, and we are still amazed on how can you just move from level 2 to level 6, but then that was because we had a really good teacher in grade 12, and with that and the hard work that was in place and the prayers of our pastors and our mothers, when you're in grade 12, people always pray for you. I think a combination of all of those things made it happen. But I would say now the change from that mark to the one in grade 12, it was different and extraordinary. But besides that, I was just a normal kid.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's move on now as we to our last lap of our discussion, the last section. We want to know a bit more about your university life. Please don't get too emotional on this one. I know it has some soft spots and some no-go areas, but just bear with us. Feel comfortable.
Can I go back to the high school life? What happened? So then there was this day, guys. I was late. As I
Mm-hmm.
said, I was one of the naughty ones. I was late, and this was in grade 11, not even grade 8. This other teacher was late, and then she was coming in a van. Her hair was like covered with dust. The principal was coming. I didn't see the principal, and I started teasing that teacher. Teasing the principal caught me red-handed. Teasing that teacher, guys, I was beaten. Yo, my mom was called that your daughter is busy teaching teachers at school. But anyway, that was one of the things that actually, I will never forget that day being caught. And she was like, you are late. On top of being late, you're teasing other teachers. Hibo, you were in trouble already, guys. That was hilarious. But anyway.
It's so yeah. It's we don't see those things now, so it shows that you have grown.
Okay, now back to the university
Let's
life.
go back to the you can't escape it. You can cover up with stories all you like. We will still ask the questions. So um so tell us about your transition from high school to university. Something that you think was miraculous in coming into your university. I already know you said your background and how you think it's a blessing, but anything else that you think was extraordinary about coming from high school to here?
So, in grade 12, I became the best learner in my class. And then now, from being the best learner already, the teachers expect you to go and study engineering or medicine. Those are the two careers that we know from the villages. Ne? And then now I went and then I registered for computer science at University of Pretoria. And that was because they told me that if you pass, you will now register for engineering. I wanted to do metallurgical engineering because my physics teacher at that time told me that they get paid so much money. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this engineering thing. Yo, guys, it showed me flames. I failed that course. I failed so bad that all my confidence went from 100 to probably minus 10. And there was this one night when I was sleeping around 3 a.m. I woke up, I was like, yo, I'm failing. I need to change degree or university or something. So I read about University of Stellenbosch and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my chemical engineering at Stellenbosch University. I applied, my application was successful, and they took me from what's that, chemical engineering, EDP. So from that time, from EDP, I came now, I registered for EDP chemical engineering, and then fast forward at the end of the year, I failed drawing. So the condition for being in EDP and going into mainstream is that you must pass everything. So I failed drawing, and that meant that I was supposed to go home. When people were applying, I didn't apply anyway. I was like, I'm going to be in Stellenbosch. I can't come here and then live with nothing. So okay, after failing, I sent this other lady an email. I told her, look, I only failed drawings. I can still do BSc if that is possible. By the grace of God, she did say that, okay, you can come and register for BSc chemistry. Then I registered for BSc chemistry, and then yeah, so I graduated for in 2020. Was it 2020 or 2020? It's
2020.
2020. Yeah, with my BSc chemistry. So okay, it took forever, guys. I will not lie. It took ages. I started my chemistry in 20, was it 24, 2015. That's when I started my chemistry, my BSc chemistry. It went from 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then I only got it in 2020. In between, I got married, and then I gave birth, and then I cried, I laughed. There were so many people who were supporting me. I had wonderful friends, wonderful church mates, wonderful people were there holding my hand. I thought of giving up so many times, guys, like so many times. But for some reasons, I was just like, you know what? I came here to get my degree, so I'm not going home without it. And by the grace of God, after a very long time, I graduated. So I'm a chemistry graduate, guys. Chemistry graduate, a whole scientist.
Congratulations on your chemistry degree. Um, so now you went from chemistry and now you are moving back to education, which you wanted, right? Before. So now we can, since you are now in PGCE, soon to be PGCE graduate, and you'll be an educator, we can classify you more towards the teaching side, even though we'll know you also have a chemistry degree. Né? So let's focus then on the teaching field, since it's more towards where you are right now. And so Can you describe the teaching field in some simple words? How would you describe the field of teaching in some few simple words?
You serve.
Serving.
Teaching, it's all about serving.
Oh, good. I like that. I really like that. So, how does a typical day look like for someone in your field, an educator?
Since we are doing our school practicals now, you go to school and then you actually have, like my mentor teachers, you find that you have classes all day long. Maybe some days you have only one break, some days you have like two. So it's hectic, guys. It all requires time management, because now you need to prepare for your learners. You must get there and give them your best, because I believe that teaching is a calling. For me, it's a calling, name. And I discovered that in 2016 already. So when I was so sure about it, I was like, I'm not going to start a whole new degree. I can finish my degree and still go into teaching. It wasn't an easy transition, because like at home they had high hopes that you're going to be a scientist, you're going to work here and there. If I have to tell you, my brother actually because he's working at Unilever for at Unilever warehouse. So in February somewhere there, he already had like a job nyana waiting for me. Like he spoke to one of the managers there, and because they had internships, I was supposed to go there and do my internship there. And then it's in Gauteng. My husband is in Free State, so it's closer to him. And I was like, I can't take it. I have to go to where I'm supposed to be. Like I can see all the money, everything that you guys are showing me, but my heart is not there. I promised God that, look, if I do this, if one day I get my degree, I'll serve into the ministry of being a teacher. And guys, as much as we don't want to acknowledge this, if you promise God something, at some point you have to do it. Like imagine you tell your baby that I'm gonna give you sweets if you clean the house. A small baby cleans the house, or maybe let's just say a child, they clean the house and you don't give them anything. That is not a good thing. I'm not saying that we must always make promises to God, but if you do say something, at least just go back to it, because God says that his word never changes. So if his word doesn't change, also our promise, like if you promise that, God, I will do this, it shouldn't change because of the things that are happening around you. So in that field of education, guys, if you don't have the calling, if you don't have the heart, you will not survive, because there are different learners. They come with different mentalities, they come with different um backgrounds, and you're supposed to show them love. Those who don't know what love is at home, you're supposed to show them what love is at school. Those who don't know how to be appreciated, you need to show them that you appreciate them in school. So if you don't have the heart for it, guys, it's just not gonna work out. Like, cause from the past few days that I've been there, I just saw that it's all about the passion, it's all about the calling. If you don't understand it in the first place, I'm not saying it is not doable, but it will be very difficult for you.
I agree. I agree. Thank you for emphasizing servanthood. Okay, so what in your field of education? In your field of education, what do you think is the most difficult part, and how do you think you overcome it?
Yo, guys, you're dealing with different learners, and because they're different, some of them want to learn, some of them, they usually distract the class. So sometimes for me it has been difficult to balance that. I'm still struggling to actually be able to say this is how I'm overcoming this problem. The problem of having learners who are just there to distract others. They are there, and now you have to teach and make sure that the ones who don't want to be distracted actually still get to learn. And you cannot like there are I don't want to say rules, but there are things that are set there by the government that a teacher can't do this, a teacher can't do this. Sometimes a learner really disrespects you in front of the whole class. We are human. You would want to do something, you would want to react, but the government doesn't give you the right to actually react in a normal way. They want you to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Even if that learner did something that is very, very not nice, you are just supposed to always be like, eh, weba. You're supposed to be humble all the time, which is really not realistic. But anyway, it's
Okay.
the times that we live in.
Let's conclude. I'll conclude with this last question. What would be your message to the world? But let me make it more specific. What would be your message to young people in closing?
Guys, be yourself. Just be yourself. That's all I will say. There are many people out there, but we are missing the individuals. There are many celebrities out there. There are people who've lived their life. There are people who've left their legacy. Be you. The world needs you. The world doesn't need another Beyonce or another Jay-Z or another, I don't know, celebrities. But the world needs you. It doesn't need a photocopy. It doesn't need another someone who is already great. Be you. God created you for a reason. There's so much potential in you. There's so much potential in actually being you. And like the Bible says that He has so many plans for you, plans to prosper you. So if you discover yourself and then you ask God that, God, where must I go? Which path must I follow? He will actually lead you. It may take longer in the actual world. Like we always complain things take forever, but if you actually listen to God and just follow His path, you will be the greatest version of yourself that no one would actually thought that you would be. There's so much greatness in every human being. There's so much potential in all of us. Just be you and don't be lazy. Work hard and work smart, because even the Bible doesn't say anything good about a lazy person. So I think
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so happy. I'm laughing because you said you're trying to be short, but you can never stop passion. It's passion that is talking, you cannot limit it. But thank you so much, Mrs. Makhura. Thank you for the interview. It's Mr. Nuves behind the screen. Let me show myself so that you can also see me. I was the interviewer. Thank you so much.